morning, Niner faithful. Sorry I'm a little late. I'm at work, so I had to find some open space. You know how it goes. But anyways, 49ers had some pretty interesting news this morning. Dropped from Field Yates about 30 minutes ago. The 49ers have created $11.78 million in available cap space by restructuring the contract of Arik Armstead. They now have $41.5 million in cap space. This is the most in the NFL. 40 million. No Border Sports says that is quarterback move money. Absolutely is. $41.5 million. Arik Armstead, George Kittle, and Trent Williams all have restructured their contracts. They helped get Bosa, but you have $41.5 million sitting in the bank now. Are you going to roll that over till next season? Are you going to go get a big player, Brian Birds, Chris Jones, although you have to trade for them? Just remember, are they going to front load Bosa? Are they just going to give him all his money now? What are you going to do? Are you going to roll it over to next year? Are they worried about Brandon Ayuk? What are they going to do? At the end of the day, I don't know, but Parag Marathi is cooking. He's cooking. Put all the ingredients in a pot, mix it up like gumbo. Parag Marathi, hey, last week, people were slamming him, saying he's not getting it done. He's got to get it done. And you know what? He's got it done, and now he's got money in the bank. So shout out to Parag Marathi. The man cooked. I said it. We say it every week. He's a salary cap wizard. And I was kind of doubting my guy, my boy, Parag Marathi. Why did I doubt my boy? Why did I doubt my boy? I should never have doubted him. Parag Marathi is cooking up something, and it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to see. I was like, wow. I genuinely was shocked driving here this morning. I was like, whoa, $11.78 million in cap space. Arik Armstead's contract was huge. It counts. He has a $28 million hit against the cap next season. $28 million. He signed a 5-year, $85 million a couple years back, $17 million per year. So you know what the 49ers have done? They restructured that deal, and it might not hit us as hard. Again, you got to remember, they got Brandon Ayuk, who could be a big player in this whole aspect. I think people are forgetting they have to find a way to pay Brandon Ayuk, and this might be the way. You know, Brandon Ayuk's contract is definitely going to be something that they have to keep an eye on. And if he tears it up, they might need to get it done earlier than later, sooner rather than later. Because you know what they've done? 49ers have, waited on these contracts. Debo, Kittle, Bosa now, Warner, they wait. And what happens? All the drama that we've seen. So maybe they're waiting no longer. Maybe they're trying to get this done earlier. I don't know, but it is interesting. Maybe they'll get a midseason signing. Now they have extra money, so if there's something that happens in the midseason and they need a player, they can go get it. Because right now you have Colton Malkovich at your right tackle. If he doesn't pan out, maybe they go get a right tackle like immediately this season to help him out. Maybe they go and get an edge rusher to help him out this season. I know they got Nick Bosa, but what if Drake Jackson and Clelin Ferrell are just not it? What if those two guys are not it? And you need an edge rusher, right? Maybe you go get one of those guys. Maybe they get cornerback depth. Maybe you go get somebody to help in the secondary because, Mooney Ward right now is dealing with the heel. I'm sure he'll be fine and he'll be good. But Diablo Lenore, he's an X factor. He's a wild card. We don't know if he's going to take that leap. Although, I'm a big Diablo Lenore guy. I love that guy. I love Lenore. But is he going to be the guy that takes the leap and be a solid shutdown CB2? I don't know. So I think that could be something to look at. So to me, those are the three positions. You got Diamond Lenore and the cornerback spot. You got Drake Jackson, Clelin Ferrell in the edge spot, the extra edge. Who's going to help Nick Bosa on the other side. And then not only that, you also have offensive linemen, right? Colton Malkovich, I'm not sure what we're going to get out of him this season. So you got money to save for those guys. In case they don't pan out. And then you got the kicker position that I haven't brought up yet. But the kicker, here's the kicker, right? Maybe they go after Robbie Gould. If Jake Moody is not cutting it, if he's not cutting it early in the season, maybe they swallow their pride and go get Robbie Gould back and beg him. They got a lot of money now. They can go get Robbie Gould. So we'll see. Who is out there worth spending money on? Chris Jones. Two Phone Jones. Did you see him at the Chiefs game the other day? Sitting there with two phones. He was ready to roll. He's high. He was just watching Chris Jones. Brian Burns. But Brian Burns, you'd have to trade for. Same with Chris Jones. They're not just going to give those guys up, but there definitely are players that you can get right now to bolster this defensive line. So, trade deadline for sure, for sure. They could be rolling it over, right? It says no border sports. They could be rolling it over. Definitely something that they just save it till next season, because again, Brandon Ayuk is a guy that needs some money. And if Brandon Ayuk goes crazy this year, it's going to be hard to save this guy and pay him, right, with all these contracts that they have on the books. So, it's one of those things. 49ers have options now. Again, this was crazy. They opened up over $11 million, almost $12 million, 11.78. They have $41.5 million in cap space. That's crazy. They just paid Nick Bosa. Okay? You gave him $170 million in cap space. And now you have $41 million in cap space. $170 million contract and you're not broke. That is crazy. That is some legendary stuff right there. Yo, shout out to Parag, man. Shout out to Parag Marate. Honestly, holy smokes, dude. That is some craziness. I don't know. They must know something we don't, says Showboat. Absolutely, they know something we don't. They're the ones doing it. They're cooking. They're the chefs, and we're just here at the table, ready for whatever they service. Oh, allegedly, Steve-O says Nick better bring his brother. Could you imagine? Ronnie says, I believe it's to trade for an improved right tackle if Colton doesn't perform great before the deadline. I think this is the most logical answer. I think that they do want to give Colton his chance, his opportunity. He's going to be on a leash. I don't know how short it's going to be, but if he doesn't operate well, if he doesn't play good, they're going to cut the leash and go get a big dog. So I agree with what Ronnie says. I think that's what it is, most likely for right tackle. Now, again, it could also be for edge, right? It could be another edge because they got Drake Jackson, second-year player, Clelin Ferrell. They may need some extra help for both, but they do have Javon Hargrave. So I still think your defensive line is a little bit more set up right now compared to the O-line because we don't know what Colton McKivitz. So we're not sure. But I do see it either being somewhere on the line, either defensively or offensively. It could be, right, offensive line, Colton, or it could be defensive line if Nick Bosa needs a little bit more help. But I think they'd want to go to that O-line. You got to protect the quarterback. So Mr. International says McKivitz will be solid. We all hope so, right? That's the goal. That's the hope. He started 5 games in his career, so we'll see. Jury's still out, but if he tears it up, we're all going to be happy. Allegedly, Niners waiting for an injury, then fill the gap. I mean, that probably is a logical answer. No Border says, is there a right tackle that's disgruntled right now? Not sure. Anybody know of any right tackles that are pissed off at their team? Because if so, we'll be willing to take them over here. Showboat says, do we ever find out who the new boom boss guy is? Yeah, it's Robert Lloyd, the equipment manager. Last time they did the boombox, he's the one that came out with it. King Geo says we got at least 3 to 5 games before we decide who to spend that money on. Yeah, again, I think it's going to be one of those games or one of those seasons where it really is going to be determined by what's lacking. A couple of years back, they went and got Emmanuel Sanders because the receiving core needed a jolt. CMC last year, they just needed that offensive jolt. So we'll see. Maybe they go and get a right tackle. Maybe they get an edge. Maybe they get a cornerback. It really depends. Or a kicker. It's got to be one of those spots, right? Christine says maybe a right tackle and a kicker. No Border Sports says $40 million could get you a top line right tackle and defensive end. Yeah, I wish they would have got this money and got Yannick. I wish they would have been able to get Yannick Ngakoue a couple of weeks ago. That would have been so nice. Oh man, that would have been cherry on top. But they were worried about Bosa, so I get it. A little late to the party, John Lynch. I mean, it's amazing they got it done. I'm happy for Parag doing all this contract negotiation, but at the same time, you wish they would have got it done a little bit earlier because they could have got Yannick. But hey, it is what it is. We'll see. We will see what happens. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta get to work. We'll talk later. Again, if you're just joining me, let's recap. The 49ers created $11.78 million in cap space by restructuring the contract of Arik Armstead. They now have $41.5 million in cap space, the most in the NFL. This is according to Field Yates. There's many options of what they can do. They can front load the contract for Nick Bosa. They might be able to get a new player, a big splashy name, not just anybody, not just a geek off the street. They could roll the cap over to 2024, and they could also use this money to get Brandon Ayuk a nice little contract extension. So we'll see what happens. Also, real quick before we leave, this is the advantage of having Brock Purdy as your quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant. Brock Purdy is making pennies on the dollar compared to these guys. He's making less than $1 million, ladies and gentlemen. He is making less than $1 million a season. Mr. Irrelevant is getting paid absolutely diddly compared to his teammates. And I get it. He's a rookie. But this is the advantage of why you have a rookie quarterback. This is why Kyle loves him. A guy that is a rookie quarterback, you can start paying all these players around you, have a lot of money. And if he understands the system and he understands how to win games with you, you are happy and you are blessed. Kyle Shanahan definitely taking advantage of the, Brock Purdy situation. Hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully he can continue to be able to continue to grow. He's got a great supporting cast around him. CMC, Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, George Kittle, amazing. Brock Purdy had a magical run, and if he continues where he left off last year, holy smokes, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a monumental season. This guy's getting paid nothing compared to everybody else in the NFL. Quarterback, not even making $1 million is absolutely crazy. You guys said earlier we have quarterback money. Brock Purdy is not even making quarterback money, and he's a quarterback. He is a quarterback not making quarterback money. This is the benefit of not paying Brock Purdy anything. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. You got to love it. Yo, shout out to Brock Purdy. He's the real MVP. Parag Marathe cooking in the pot. Shout out to them. This was a great little piece of news as we start our day here. So enjoy your Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. 49ers now lead the NFL in cap space. They got the highest paid defensive player and lead the NFL in cap space. Are you kidding me? Whew. Y'all have a good day, man. Make sure you hit that like button. Oh my God.